if I was that honest with people, I don't think anyone would like it as much as we love Ryan. So thank you, Ryan. Frank Fairfield, I don't know what I did to deserve to play after Frank Fairfield or to even play on the same show as Frank Fairfield. It just happened. I don't know. I'm still trying to understand that. Bodies of Water is, and so here's a funny story. The last time that I opened for Bodies of Water, it was like 2007. It was at Mr. T's Bowl, and I got heckled mercilessly. The worst. There was a woman who came up to me afterwards and she said, "I had never in my life experienced such a horrible performance as the one that you just gave to me. It was physically painful for me." How the tables have turned, huh? Thank you. I love all of the men who played tonight. Thank you. I'm trying a completely different thing right now. I don't know if it's gonna work. It's probably going to work. It's definitely going to work. I'm trying this thing. So the idea of tonight was that I wanted to make a performance that was more like reading and less like music and less like getting up and playing in front of anybody, but just like I've incorporated books and reading into my daily life so much that I wanted the performance to be like that, where you could have a book and you could have text in the book and you could have like a word that would be like a key on a piano, or you could have a letter in a word that would be like a key on a piano. That was kind of the idea tonight. And so once I started up with that idea, there were all these other things that I realized, oh no, the technology for this doesn't work. It's really problematic in many ways. So anyway.
Yay!
It's the redacted version. Rider with rider
with no pen.
Rider with no pen.
Opens no pen.
With no pen he opens his.
Rider with no.
His wrist.
With no pen.
With
his wrist
opens his. Rider with no pen.
With no. It is
his wrist. Wrist. Tastes
the words
like with no
rider with
rider. Tastes the words like
taste
the spilling the words like taste the with no pen like spilling letter eyes. Tastes the
his wrist.
With his, the spilling
like
the words spilling letter eyes.
With no pen
like
the words
like spilling letter eyes. Taste side spilling rider with I a scream.
He writes.
Okay, that kind of worked. So I have to explain. The next tune, when my dad died in 2007, I wrote this song that was kind of a memorial song for him with no words. And the title of the song came from a poem that he wrote when he was about my age. And it was all typed up on hospital letterhead. What you're gonna see is not a font, it's actual typewriter. And so when I had the idea for using the words connected to sounds and then touching them and stuff like that, I was thinking, well, what's a text that has sounds, or so it turns out that this is like an instrumental that I made. I guess this is kind of like a lyric video. Everybody has seen these lyric videos online now. You know, there's a video with the words of the video. This is lyrics for a song that doesn't have words at all. So. of house lights. I'm going to read a thing. This is, I said that the performance would be more like reading and less like performance, and then this part is really like read. This is, I was hoping that it would mostly be reading together, not me reading to you, us reading together, but this is me reading to you. So here we go. This is, the story is called Dr. K, like the letter K. There's a well-known piece of trivia about Dr. K, a man I associate, perhaps arbitrarily, with my father. Seeing certain photos of him immediately brings this piece of trivia back to my mind. These photos elicit in me this involuntary feeling of a deep recognition, a sense that somehow, inexplicably, I know this face, beyond simply identifying the face as Dr. K's. With his high forehead, his mustache that he always had broad and trimmed, and the brown eyes set wide apart, eyes that always seemed to be both seeking out but also gazing inward at the same time. Looking at these eyes, how many others have believed, if only for an instant, that they've glimpsed their own family, their own father in them? The well-known piece of trivia about him goes like this, and it's not pleasant. After Dr. K's murder at age 39, in the clinically unsentimental autopsy report, Shelby County Medical Examiner Jerry T. Francisco recorded the heart of the deceased as abnormally enlarged, a condition known as cardiomegaly, although he never used that word. At 450 grams, Dr. K's heart weighed double the average of other men his age, and even exceeded the average for men of 70, in whom we'd expect to see the heart to grow over time. The assumption made in Dr. K's biographies attributing this condition to the tremendous stress and trauma of his work, it seems only natural. Prone to bouts of severe depression throughout his life, Dr. K tried to kill himself multiple times as a child, once by jumping from a second-story window. Shortly before his murder, Dr. K's own staff urged him unsuccessfully to seek formal psychiatric treatment. In 1958, he survived a first assassination attempt, and for many years he received near-constant death threats, including a famous letter later traced to the FBI, in which an anonymous author claimed to possess untold hours of incriminating audio. "There is only one thing left for you to do," the letter reads. "You know what it is." When we interpret a man's heart and the fact of its superhuman size, we're trying to give some rational explanation to a piece of trivia that we hope will encapsulate a metaphor for the man. And we can understand if Dr. K's biographers want to blame his innate sensitivity and the unenviable public pressure that he was under. Pain and hardship only caused his heart to grow, their narrative tells us, and we want so badly to believe this. Nevertheless, the remainder of the autopsy report, if you look at it, at least to a layperson, it reads like a routine examination of a man in perfect health. "There is no significant dilation affecting the chambers of the heart," writes Dr. Francisco. "The myocardial fibers are well preserved, the nuclei are regular, fibrosis is not present throughout the myocardium, and cellular inflammatory reaction is not present." Today, doctors ascribe the most common cause of an enlarged heart not to stress, but simple genetics, and cases can remain asymptomatic over many years, even decades. If we suggest that the possibility that this condition may never have bothered Dr. K at all, then the well-known piece of trivia becomes, in our minds, less of an affliction, and maybe not a reaction against anything, just an inherent part of Dr. K's makeup, sort of a secret superpower, so secret that he himself probably never knew about it. If he'd been not a man, but say a character in a story, not a human with all our frailties, but this larger-than-life public figure that we want him to be, and if this was not just a famous face in a photo, but our own father's face, would we still wonder after his trivia like we do? A hero of fiction would never have delivered a Nobel lecture any different from the one the real man gave. It's a lecture that I think, if we would only hear it, we might hush all further discussion of internal organs and what they weigh and why. And here's what he said: "Occasionally in life," these are his words, "there are those moments of unutterable fulfillment which cannot be completely explained by those symbols called words. Their meanings can only be articulated in the inaudible language of the heart." will take a second to set up, and while I'm setting up, I don't know, I'm just gonna crack jokes or something. Tonight is Hanukkah, as many of you know. And of course, as soon as I mention Hanukkah, all the non-Jews in the audience are like, okay, interesting, let's hear about this. And all the Jews are like, oh, please, no. So what is the story of Hanukkah? It's not in any of the regular books. So the story is something like ancient Greeks desecrated the temple, ancient temple. They messed it all up. The Jews got back in there and they were looking for oil to light the lamps, and they couldn't find enough oil that was actually good to use. And they found one last bottle, and it was only enough for one day. And it ended up burning for 8 days. Miracle, right? And so, so let's see. In thinking about this, yeah, I mean, the problem is that like this stuff is not. It's written in all these other weird apocryphal books, in the books that are in between the books that are not actually ever read. So this one, let's see. If I can only get this straight, then we can do this. Yeah. And if I can zoom in a little bit, then it'll all be worth the wait. Yeah, and if I can just make sure that it's zoomed properly. So this is another similar story from the Talmud. This is what a page of the Talmud looks like. And in the theme of lighting fires and miracles, it's a completely different kind of a fire and a different kind of a miracle. The voice on the recording that you're going to hear is from Rav David Grossman, who died in a car accident a few years ago. Am I making everyone sick yet? Moving this around too much? I'm just trying to get it in focus. Okay. Is that in focus? It looks like it.
Yeah.
You're going to see the color wheel of death. Yeah. Everyone knows. If you have a Mac, you know what I'm talking about. Actually, let me give you another color wheel of death. I can do one better.
Oprah was said, well, hurry up, it didn't take too much longer. At Shenistro, Rev Yisra Kisno. Yisra Kisno was sister. So what happened was, the whole called the Romans, all the great Romans, plus he was famous by the Romans, also went to speak with him. So all the great Romans went, Lekobra to bury him. Vespidu, they also went to that Satan. That's the God, they also said eulogies there. So the Chassidus, when all the Romans came back, Marzul, Rabbi Chalina ben Trajan, this was the downfall. Now they're coming back, they found Chalina ben Trajan sitting there learning Torah. He had great yeshivas there. He was learning with a lot of Talmidim. The Sefer Torah, and he had a Sefer Torah with him. Marsh, we did not listen to his Rebbe before. What happened was the Romans caught him now, and at the U, they brought him a Karkuba Sefer Torah. They wrapped the Sefer Torah around his body. And the Kifuhu, they also surrounded him, the Chavle Samaris, with pieces of wool. The Yatzisa ben Esar, they lit it on fire. The Yatzil Svukim Shopsemer, that's twigs. They brought twigs there to start the fire. And now the Yatzil Svukim Shopsemer, they brought sponges of wool. The Shorim B'mayim, they soaked in the water. The Nichol, they put it upon his heart. Kadesh Matetz and the Shemos Meir, he shouldn't die so fast. They wanted to torture him. That's what the Romans did to Chalina ben Trajan. So his daughter said to him, Abba, Ericha b'kach, I have to see this way. So Omar he sends it back again. No, he was still stuck. If I would be burnt up myself, it would bother me a lot that I'd be afraid of killing me. But Achshav now, Shani Nisra, the Sefer Torah in me, that Sefer Torah is being burnt with me, so Misha Mavakesh Alabayna Shal Sefer Torah, or Yavakesh Alabayni. Whoever will take care of the covenant of Torah Hashem, that sees that his Sefer Torah is burning, he must feel bad. Hashem for sure is going to have Rahmanas upon me also. Hashem will feel bad for me also. So again, he was attached to the Torah, and the Torah was there with him, it didn't bother him. Armalai Talmidim, the Talmidim said to him, listen, Rebbe, Ma Torah, what do you see right now? Armalai, I see like this. Gilya in this Rofim, true. The Gilya, the paper of the Sefer Torah is being burnt. But the letters, Parachos, are flying out. Meaning to say, even though the burnt this Sefer Torah, what the Torah did for me, the limit of it is going with me. That's not in vain. The Yoshias are going with me. That's not in vain.
Wow.
Thank you. It means a lot that you're all here. That's all I've got. When you come up with new stuff, I wanted to have like 16 of these things, and that was it.
Omer was said, well, what?